Yeah. Hair flip. Yeah, I'm a badass bitch. I don't like it. Hair flip. Yeah. Oh my god. So you guys should be happy. Oh my goodness. Hair flip. But anyways, hair flip. And hair flipping on these hoes. Hi.
Hello everyone, welcome back to your boy SeanDavieWay. Make sure you like and subscribe. We are here for, once again, Surviving Astroworld. This is part 2, and without further ado, we'll get right into the aftermath of what we were talking about yesterday, some of the updates, and we will also get into some testimonies. So yeah, let's get right into it. Fire Chief Samuel Pena says Travis Scott should have paused the performance. Houston Fire Chief Samuel Pena appeared on the Today Show Tuesday, where he updated the public on the investigation into the deaths at the Astroworld Festival. During the interview, Pena seemingly blamed the rapper for not doing more to control the crowd from the stage. His quote, "Look, we all have a responsibility. Everyone at the event has a responsibility, starting with the artist on down," he told Savannah. The fire chief noted that it was merely his opinion that the artist has control over the crowd, and that the official investigation will determine any culpability on the part of Scott, the event organizers, or the venue. However, he believes the rapper could have been more instrumental in helping first responders and security regain control and respond to the victims. If that artist knows something is going on, he can certainly pause the performance, turn on the lights, and say, "Hey, we're not going to continue until this is resolved," Pena said. Now, let me give you a quick example of what Pena is talking about.
On this side, look, that flash battling. Look at the flashes. I'm sorry if I won't move on, but that shit that happened, that Astroworld shit, that mean we can't never continue till we know somebody motherfucking good. Cause I'm finna be leaving with nothing on my conscience. Just take 5 minutes. I know you took that.
As you see, Cat Williams stopped his performance to make sure that that audience member was okay, especially being alerted that something was wrong. Travis Scott could have done the same thing. He chose not to. Once again, we cannot make it, like he didn't know. He did know. And as an artist, he does have power over the crowd. If Travis said, cut the music, turn on the lights, and he had the music cut and they turned on the lights, everybody's instantly going to have his attention. You're here to see a show. You see things going on, hear things going on, you stop the show. You could always have paused it so that the first responders could have gotten to the people that needed to be taken care of and whatnot. If people would have seen that there was certain things going on, I think that the whole stampede could have been avoided. The trample, that could have been avoided if Travis would have paused the show. Moving on. The one person who can really call for and get a tactical pause when something goes wrong is that performer. They have the bully pulpit and they have a responsibility, he told the outlet on Sunday. If somebody said, "Hey, shut this thing down and turn on the lights until this thing gets corrected," and that coming from the person with the microphone, I think this could have been very helpful. The chief doubled down on those claims during his latest interview. He did note, however, he does not believe Scott's conduct on stage led to any deadly crowd surge. Once again, I'm going to repeat that. The chief doubled down on those claims during his latest interview. He did note, however, he does not believe Scott's conduct on stage led to the deadly crowd surge. Instead, he said that the investigators are looking into the crowd control tactics that were being used and that could have led people in the center of the audience getting crushed by one another. Once again, listen to that part. Could have led to people in the center of the audience getting crushed one by another. So the fire chief is stating that they still don't know what caused the surge. It had obviously nothing to do with Travis coming on stage. And when Drake came out is when people started to notice a crowd surge, but there was already a surge before that was happening, and the surge started in the middle of the arena. It didn't start at the front where the barriers are, to jump over the barriers to get to the actual stage. So these barriers are preventing people from getting to the direct stage. This is what these are here for. So the people being trampled would have been being trampled at the beginning of this here barricade, to get over. And the people that are coming behind them are basically trampling them to get over the barricade type of situation. Some people that were trampled in the center. What would make a trample start in the center if everybody's trying to get over the barricade. You can't get over the barricade in the middle of all of these people. Like, there's no way that the people are body to body. People are already struggling to breathe, is what they were saying, because it was so overcrowded. So there's no way, if you're in a center, you're going through thousands of people burrowing forward, thinking that you're going to make it to that barricade. It's just it seems close, but it's really not, so that's the problem. How did these other people get trampled? We understand, the people that got trampled that were at the beginning of the barricade, but how did these people get trampled in the center? How did this happen? And once again, they do not believe that it was Travis being on stage and what caused the crowd surge. They're still trying to look to see what else happened, because something else happened to make these people react. That is what they're looking into. It had nothing to do with the stage or the artists that were on stage at that time. The fire chief also added, what was happening was the barricades that were placed to prevent the surge towards the stage, in essence, caused other areas of pinch points. As the crowd began to surge and press and compress towards the stage in front of it, it was those people in the center that began to get crushed. Once again, it was those people in the center that began to get crushed, and the injuries started to begin. We are still trying to figure out what caused the crowd to begin that surge, but we're looking at everything. Once again, they still do not know what caused the crowd surge. Satan, not Travis Scott, is to blame for Astroworld tragedy. TikTok geniuses declare. So there has been a lot of speculation around Satanism that was going on allegedly at Astroworld, and a lot of people just feeling really creepy vibes and just not feeling, a good feeling while just listening to a lot of the music, and also how the scene and the stage setup was. So let's get into why all of these conspiracies are going around. And when I say going around, I mean going around. It is all over the internet. It is everywhere. It's kind of hard to type in Astroworld and not see some type of conspiracy that is to follow. So let's dive right into it. During the times of mass tragedy, it's natural for people to seek answers to difficult questions. In the wake of Astroworld concert in Houston on Friday, many people have been asking why. Exactly 8 concert goers between the ages of 14 and 27 have passed away. Some are questioning what happened in that crush of people. Others are asking if the culture of his shows and the notoriously aggressive mosh pits should be re-examined. Still others are asking if someone even more notorious than the Houston rapper who should be blamed. Satan. On TikTok, where some videos have gained millions of views, typing Astroworld into the search bar generates Astroworld festivity demonic as one of the top suggestions. People have said the stage was shaped like an inverted cross leading to a portal of hell, which they believe was represented by the arc-shaped set on stage. They also point to the shirt Scott wore at the show that depicts human figures walking through a door, emerging with what looks like to be horns, as further evidence that Scott was leading his fans to hell and sacrificing people's lives intentionally. A representative for TikTok said this content violates community guidelines and the company is working on taking action against it, including within the search engine suggestions. So let's get into what people are stating. So people said that the stage was shaped like an inverted cross leading to a portal of hell. Let's get into that inverted cross. The inverted upside down cross and occult. An inverted pentagram is more common of a symbol attached to the Church of Satan and Satanism, but an inverted cross is also used, such as in the Satanic Temple's ceremony unveiling and the Baphomet statue. In popular culture, such as in music and movies, the upside down cross can mean anti-Christian and Satanist sentiments specifically, or rebellion against social and political power in general. In Hollywood's films like Rosemary's Baby, The Conjuring, upside down crosses are associated with demonic activity and overall evilness to creep the audience out. Okay? So like we were talking about yesterday, in Christianity, when it comes to Satanism, everything is backwards. So the cross of the crucifixion of Jesus Christ, the Lord's head was above and his arms were spread across. In Satanic terms, you just turn that upside down. So instead of the cross being up, the cross is upside down, introverted, meaning that is a symbolism of, Satanism, or just overall rebellion against religion, politics, just everything in general. You just rebel against everything. You believe in nothing that society basically has put in front of you. Now, I find it mighty weird that, with TikTok and a lot of other, bigger social media platforms, is that they're trying to remove everything when it comes to, the Illuminati or, Satanism, and things like that, especially when it is related to celebrities, which I find weird. The Adventures of Sabrina, the new Sabrina show that they did from back in the day, everything about that show is completely Illuminatic. It is so in your face to where it's disgusting. They literally have a Baphomet in the temple and in the show. They say praise Satan, hail Satan, like all of these things. So why is it okay that you guys get to do it in mainstream media, but when we talk about it, all of a sudden it's an issue? I don't understand that. It's okay for Rosemary and The Conjuring and, Sabrina and all of these other people to talk about Satanism and have it just as clear as day. It's fine for us to do commentary on Sabrina and how they have Baphomet statues and how they hail Satan and how she marries Satan, although Satan is literally her father. You guys literally pushing, incest and, all of these things, trying to normalize all of these things. But when we talk about it, all of a sudden it's a problem. Travis, let's get into your stage setup. The photo you see in front of you is the photo of Travis Scott's Astroworld 2021 setup before the setup was finished. So this is the beginning before all of the equipment was placed. If you look in the middle, the stage is set like an upside down and introverted pentagram. It is literally upside down. In the middle is a circle, more so of a symbol of a gateway. And that gateway would be to one place, hell. Once the scene lights up, once they finish the set, if you pay attention, the circle is red. And to add insult to injury, above that is placed a fiery bird, a phoenix. And everybody knows, if you know anything about Satanism, that the phoenix represents death and resurrection is what the phoenix represents. So let's get a little bit into that. But once again, Travis, if you don't want people to think that you're a Satanist or that you're doing satanic things, then you should probably stop doing them. People can't force a situation that's not there. Where there's smoke, there's fire. Speaking of fire, let's get into the fire phoenix. The phoenix is a mythical bird with a tail of beautiful gold and red plumage. It has a 500 to 1,000 year life cycle. Near the end of the cycle, which it builds itself a nest of twigs that it then ignites. Both the nest and the bird burn fiercely and are reduced to ashes, from which a new young phoenix or phoenix egg arises, reborn anew to live again. The new phoenix is destined to live as long as its old self. In some stories, the new phoenix embalms the ashes of its old self in an egg made of myrrh and deposits in its Egyptian city of Heliopolis. The bird was also said to regenerate when hurt or wounded by a foe, thus being immortal and invincible. It is also said that it can heal a person with a tear from its eye and make them temporarily immune to death. The phoenix is a symbol of fire, divinity, resurrection, the rebirth out of the ashes, or chaos. Okay, so Travis, was Astroworld not chaotic? Was there not a symbol of fire that was there, which was above the stage the entire time? In satanic terms, this would be a rebirth. Sacrifice to rebirth. The phoenix sacrifices itself to be reborn. Okay? So with people allegedly losing their lives, Travis standing there pointing his energy towards the crowd and whatnot, when people's souls are being removed from their body, him feeding off that energy would be him being the phoenix, him taking alleged energy from alleged dead people, and that energy becoming, him, would be more so of the, when the phoenix embalms the ashes, the egg made of myrrh, he would be the dead bodies would be the myrrh. And, the phoenix, which would be him, would be taking that energy to be once again reborn type of situation, is why they will call it a ritual. Okay?
So you're telling me that that's not a fucking satanic ritual? Are you guys stupid? So you're telling me that that's not a fucking satanic ritual? Are you guys stupid?
Travis's attire that night was him in a shirt, and that shirt was human souls humans, I should say, going into a portal, which would a circular portal, and coming out more so as like demons with horns on their head. What's behind Travis? A circle, right? Circles usually form entry. Okay? Absolutely, like a tunnel vision. There's only one way to go, which would be straight. There's no turns or anything. It's just forward, entry, gateway. And with the gateway being red is more so symbolic of hell. So what people just falling dead in the audience, it just doesn't make sense, Travis. I'm just saying, y'all. It just doesn't make sense. It seemed as if, Master P getting on stage stating, y'all don't die tonight. Everybody stating how eerie the night was. It definitely seems as if you guys are getting bad at these, rituals that you try to do in plain sight. People are paying too much of attention. Everything has been being exposed since COVID, and any type of conspiracy that are out there, people have been diving in. So they're definitely going to dive into this too, Travis. It just doesn't, look good. But let's keep going. Let's get into, once again, some incidents from that night. Watching Travis interact with the crowd, even watching Travis interact when people are literally coming onto the stage. 2 men walk up to him, Travis, and tell him that he needs to stop the show. Travis continues to go. Let's watch.
What the fuck is that? If everybody good, put a middle finger up in the sky. Okay, where my guy, man? Come on. Yeah, all that. 2 hands to the sky. 2 hands to the sky. 2 hands up, y'all. 2 hands up. Y'all know what y'all came to do. Chase me, let's go. Whoa. I want to make this motherfucking ground shake, goddammit. Whoa. Here we go. Here we go. Here we go. 5, 7, 4.
The 2 men, he said, his people. Those are his people, basically, that are coming up, letting him know what's going on. After they tell Travis what's going on, he says, yeah, all that. If you all right, put 2 middle fingers in the air. Travis, you knew what was going on. You see the ambulance in the crowd. You see the bodies being taken away. And then all of a sudden, when the music got quiet and everybody starts chanting about it, then that's when you want to try to make it seem as if you cared. You didn't care. You're literally putting your hand over the crowd as they're removing people that are no longer alive. You knew what was happening, Travis.
What the fuck is that? If everybody good, put a middle finger up in the sky. Okay, where my guy, man? Come on. Yeah, all that. 2 hands to the sky. 2 hands to the sky. 2 hands up, y'all. 2 hands up. Y'all know what y'all came to do. Chase me, let's go. Whoa. I want to make this motherfucking ground shake, goddammit. Whoa. Here we go. Here we go. Here we go. 5, 7, 4.
So in part 1 of Astroworld, Surviving Astroworld, I believe that the audience got confused when I said sacrifice when it comes to adult and children. People were thinking as if I was speaking and saying that Travis should sacrifice adults. No. What I was stating is when you're going in a situation, especially an adult situation, there are pros, there are cons, and there are risks involved in those situations, such as if you go to a protest, if you're going to go protest something or, put something together in that nature, something that adults should be doing, it's a high probability that certain things could happen. You can get arrested, you can, get sandbagged, you could get hurt, in the process of, protesting. Not all protests are peaceful, but if you're going to sacrifice basically, yourself, going to this protest, because anything could happen. Once again, arrested, some protests have even resulted in death. If you're going to do that, why involve children? Why, if anybody's going to be sacrificing the situation in an adult situation, especially, it should be adults. Why go round up a bunch of kids to go protest something that could become dangerous? No, keep it with the adults, because adults can make those type of decisions. A child shouldn't have to worry about being trampled, at a concert, and things in that nature. There's also a report going around that the youngest person that got trampled was 10 years old. He actually wasn't. He was 9. Let's get into that. A 9-year-old boy is currently fighting for his life in a medically induced coma after he was reportedly trampled at Travis Scott's Astroworld Festival on Friday. Ben Crump of Ben Crump Law, as well as Alex and Bob Hillard of Hillard Martinez Gonzalez, confirmed to Fox News on Monday that the child's parents had retained their counsel. The lawyers noted in their statement that the 9-year-old, known by only the initials EB, suffered life-threatening injuries and was placed in a coma to combat his brain trauma. The suffering that this family is going through is immeasurable. The little boy has his whole life ahead of him, a life that is currently hanging in the balance because of reckless mismanagement that ensued at the Astroworld Festival. On Tuesday, Crump and Hillard confirmed in a statement on Fox News that they have filed a lawsuit on behalf of the father of EB. The lawsuit alleges negligence in great numbers of aspects, including crowd control, failure to provide proper medical attention, hiring, training, supervision, and retention. The lawsuit names Scoremore Management, Live Nation Entertainment, Travis Scott, Cactus Jack Records, and others as defendants. The lawsuit filing will allow independent experts commissioned by the legal team to access the roped-off crime scene at the festival, according to the press release. The young child and his family will face life-altering trauma from this day forward, a reality that nobody expects when they buy concert tickets. Concerts and music festivals such as this are meant to be a safe place for people of all ages to enjoy music in a controlled environment. None of that was true about the Astroworld Festival, Crump said. This little boy is currently fighting for his life, and his parents will never know the same child that entered Astroworld. We plan to hold everyone who had a hand in the festival accountable for the horrifying traumatic injuries that this helpless child sustained, said Alex Hillard. In the description for the GoFundMe page to raise money for EB's medical bills, his father offered some chilling details about what happened to both him and his son while attending the show. EB was on top of his dad's shoulders during the show when Drake took the stage with Travis Scott. At this time, that crowd surged, resulting in life-threatening conditions for some attendees as the mass of people began crushing one another. EB's dad was among the people getting crushed. He says he struggled to breathe and passed out. When he awoke, his son was gone. Based on EB's injuries, he reportedly has brain damage and trauma to nearly every organ in his body. It seems he was trampled by the frantic crowd. Earlier in the video, I stated that we will get into some victim testimonies of people that were there, and we're going to do just that. Yesterday in part 1, we heard from a couple people, and in part 2, we're going to hear from some people we haven't heard from yet.
Recount of Astroworld and the tragedy that happened, because I've been seeing a lot of videos on my For You page about people that didn't go, reporting on the news, like that they read from the news, and all this stuff, and all of this, like, and something just doesn't sit right with me, like, having somebody, they didn't go, but they're reporting on it, you know, like, it's different when you see it with your own 2 eyes. Like, I saw people dying right in front of my eyes. So, a lot more went into everything that happened than just a crowd surge. Yes, the crowd surge played a big part in it, but you had people, like, the stage design was bad, the barricades design was bad, and you had, like, all this crazy stuff happening. Like, everybody was packed in between the sound booth and the main stage, because the sound booth was so big that if you stood behind it, you couldn't see the show. So everybody was in front of that, and that compacted the crowd, made it crazier. Not to mention people sneaking in. I probably saw 2,000 people sneak in with my, like, as I was waiting for merch at 9:30 in the morning. Like, you have people, like, you had security being dickheads all day, just tasing kids for fun, refusing to pull people out of the crowd unless they were quote unquote unconscious or dying, which led to people going unconscious or dying. You had medical personnel who were not, like, trained or, like, prepared for what they were getting themselves into. There's reports of medical staff when they got to the scene of a body freezing up like deer in the headlights and not doing anything. You had there was a medical staff that had a seizure carrying somebody out of the crowd, and then that person's life was in the crowd's hands. They didn't have enough equipment. They didn't have enough Narcan for overdoses. They didn't have enough defibrillators for heart attack patients. Like, they didn't have enough ambulance carts to get to people that needed help. So a lot of the times you had people in the crowd doing medical procedures on other people in the crowd. I can name 2 specific instances when I had to open up a mosh pit solely to let an ambulance cart come through, and then another to get to a body, and then another time when I had to open up a mosh pit literally around a corpse and have someone from the crowd perform CPR on them. Like, this was no, like, people came thinking it was like, oh, it's a music festival, Bad Bunny's there. No, like, that festival is known for its brutality and physicality, and it's just sad to see.
To talk about my experience at Astrofest. It is extremely traumatizing. I've never experienced anything like that in my entire life. Probably because I've never been surrounded by so many lifeless bodies. I haven't been able to stop thinking about what was happening all around me. It was so demonic. The energy was so demonic. The set was demonic. Travis was demonic. We were literally in hell. Like, it felt like we were in hell. Nobody could breathe. We were all suffocating. Everybody around me was suffocating. We were standing on our tiptoes, and all you see is everyone around you, chins up, gasping for air, and that's all you see around you. There was no room for mosh pits. There was no room to breathe. We couldn't even breathe. We didn't even have enough room to, like, I'm sore. Like this hurts to take a deep breath today. Like, we couldn't even breathe in there because everyone's bodies were literally suffocating us so bad that people were bleeding out of their mouths and their nose. People were screaming bloody murder, literally begging for help from anybody. There's nothing that anybody could do. The floors were covered in bodies. You're doing your very best. We're fighting for our fucking lives. We're doing our very best to stay up. You couldn't even put your foot on the ground. You're stepping over other people. You're stepping over other people's shoes, just trying to fucking breathe. I'm surrounded by unconscious bodies. I don't even know if these people were alive. There's just people all around you with their eyes rolled in the back of their heads, just being moved with the crowds. There was nowhere we could go. We were trying to push back. We were trying to push back to get out. And we're just getting pushed forward. We're just getting pushed deeper into the crowd. There's sinkholes of people in the crowds all around me. Like, if I would have hit the floor, I would have never gotten up. You can see like adults holding their children up, like trying to get them to safety. There's kids like pissing and shitting themselves as a trauma response. Like, imagine going to your first concert and like this is how you think like concerts are. Like, it took us 30 minutes to get out of the crowd and we were in the back. As we finally get out, you just see people running out, bawling, lips blue. There's people, they're dragging dead bodies out of the crowd. Dead bodies. And Travis knew. Travis had a bird's eye view on everybody and could see everything. He was asked multiple times to stop, and his responses are,
flesh.